In this chapter and then through this example, we're going to start to explore some new terms for us. This example is going to help us to understand what a relation is. And a relation basically is any connection between one item and another item. For example, right here, we're looking at the top 5 names by population in the United States. For you guys that are Smiths out there, you represent 1.006% of all people in our nation. Then Johnson, Williams, Brown, and Jones. And the combination of all those 5, that represents about 4% of our entire population have those last names. Well, you can see from this table that if you want to know what percentage of names belong to Brown, you could go look for Brown, and Brown is coordinated with 0.621%. That's a relation. Well, what we're going to do is kind of write those relations out and introduce 2 terms to you. I'm going to rewrite these in a little bit of a set notation. And I'm going to abbreviate these names so I don't have to write them all out. So my first ordered pair, or my first relation that I have here, is S for Smith and a 1.006. I have another relation that I can also write as an ordered pair, and that's Johnson at 0.81%. Now I'm going to continue to do this until I run out of room. Williams at 0.699. Brown at 0.621. And the last one, Jones, also at 6.21. So all I did is take that information from the table and rewrote it in a line where it was a combination of a whole bunch of things that looked like ordered pairs. Smith matches up with 1.006. Johnson matches up with 0.810%. Williams 0.699, and so forth. So it's the same information here as it was in that table. Nothing new, no magic, nothing's happened here yet. Well, when we're in ordered pairs, we have a term for both the first term, which kind of usually fits in the X position, and a term that usually fits into that Y position. And the terms that we're going to look at are called domain and range. This information then has what we call a domain. What are all the input values? What are all the values of X? It kind of helps us organize our thoughts. So if I were going to look at this, we're going to call our domain all of those first values. Smith, Johnson, Williams, Brown, and Jones. Those names, or those input values, represent our domain. The second term in a relation that we're going to look at is called a range. What are its output? Sometimes what are its answers a little bit. And our range are, here, the second term. 1.006, 0.81, 0.699, 0.621, and there's another 0.621, but I can leave that because it's going to be duplicated again. So my range are all my output values. 1.006, 0.81, 0.699, and 0.621. And I have that one twice, but since it's the same number, I'm just going to write it down once. So when you look at relations, we want to start to identify, well, what are some more of the information that we have available to us? And so we're going to start using 2 terms fairly regularly called domain and range. And those terms will help us to understand some deeper relations as we move forward with some of our math skills.